Hello. Oh, what a busy day. Busy Mondays? Good days? Yeah, it was a great day today because we were at the cafe inside the range in Crawley. We had a card and a cuppa and we met some fab people. Some old, some new, but all good. My name's Cary, if we haven't met before. I'm one half of Two Big Girls Crafting here in West Sussex in the United Kingdom. And Mondays are Make It Simple Mondays for Two Big Girls Crafting. We like to keep it simple and show you tricks, tips, techniques, all sorts really. And today's session is simple ways with ribbon from a very special friend of ours called Lynn, who has requested it. So as per your request, Lynn, here we go. We're going to be using ribbon today. So enough about me looking at me. Let's get on to what we're actually going to play with today. So bear with as I turn the camera around. Hopefully somebody will join me and say hello. I'm hoping it's going live. You never know. You never can tell. I've got some new goodies to share and I'm going to start with those actually. This is part of being, when you become a demonstrator for Stampin' Up, one of the bonuses you get is you get to order goodies before they go live to customers. And this is one such goodie that you can just see a little bit of sneaky peeky going on there. Oh, I'm not sure. We may have frozen. I'm moving, but I don't know if the laptop's working. Well, it seems to be doing something. So anyway, maybe if anybody's watching, you could give me a thumbs up just to say that you can see and hear me. I don't want to go gabbling on and then find out nobody can see or hear me. Oh, today is not the day for an internet issue. Oh, I have some faces popped up. Somebody's there. I have a thumbs up. That's great news. Okay, so sorry about the glare. It's a bit dull and yeah, here in my corner of the world. We're in that awful autumn time of the year when we were clipped out then. Sorry. Hopefully you can see me back again. Oh, my internet connection has been restored. Oh no, I'm sorry about this, guys. Really didn't want to have any internet issues today. It looks like we may have. Maybe we can do a hotspot. That might help. Kay, afternoon, my darling. How were you? Did your Kay has a wonderful craft cabin. Did it survive the bad winds and high storms we had yesterday? I'm hoping so. Kay lives on the south coast here in the UK, so it's a little bit about whether it survived, but we're looking good for now. I'm just going to crack on. Okay, what I'm talking about, or leathering away about, is this new upcoming set of dies and stamps that will be available for customers to purchase in November. Yes, still standing. That's good. It's available to to purchase in November. And it consists of dies, stamps, a special set of stamps, pattern paper and some gemstones. We're not concentrating on the paper or the gemstones today, but the gemstones, the paper and this lovely stamp set will only be available while stocks last. The other stamp set, hi Lorraine. Oh, bless you. This stamp set and the dies will be available in the new January to July or January to June mini catalogue. Wow, January is fast creeping up on us, unfortunately. But I have these to play with for today. Now, I don't normally showcase dies on a Wednesday. On a Wednesday, it's not even Wednesday, it's Monday. Oh my days, what is going on with me? Hey ho, we'll start that again. On a Monday, we don't tend to use dies. Hi, Becky. So, stamps. We do use stamps. And I have a Christmas festive, framed and festive, which is nice Christmas sentiments, and framed florets, which have some pretty florals, lovely sentiments in lovely script. I will give you a little sneaky peeky of the dies just because they're gorgeous. They're ovals. You get to die cut out the shapes, but it's these ovals that I think are stunning. Look at that frame. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. Okay, we'll put that to one side for now and concentrate on what we're actually here for. They are lovely dies, yes. What we're actually here to show you, what I'm here to share with you, is a special request from the lovely Lynn, who will be joining us. She's probably a bit late because she's been with us all morning. We had card and a cuppa. We're going to use some of this stuff. This stuff is called ribbon. Do you hoard it? Do you buy it and go, oh, they're gorgeous, I love it? And then you get home and you go, oh, what am I going to do with that? I do. It's exactly what I do. I love it. But do I use it? Not as much as I should. So I have come up with some very simple ways to use ribbon on your cards. These are Make It Simple Monday cards, so the projects are going to be simple. They're not complicated. But we're going to give it a go. Have you seen this beautiful ribbon? It is called, I have to check the labels because I never remember, metallic mesh ribbon. It is gorgeous. And it does crunch up and make bows. It is one of our lovely team member, Lizzie's favourite. We call it Lizzie ribbon because she just loves sparkle and it suits her down to the ground. I'm also going to use for my first card this ribbon. Now this ribbon is frayed ribbon. That's all it's called. But it's kind of got texture and it's soft and you can scrunch it up and it's lovely. Very texture rich. And I'm going to use a white card base. Hello, Lynn. And a vanilla card base. I don't very often use vanilla, but I am going to today. What I've also got are 2 pieces of red cardstock. And I'm going to break Jill's heart. Hello, Shaz. Sad to say you have 3 rolls. This panel is 5 centimetres wide and I'm going to tear it. Jill hates when I tear things, but she hates the frayed ribbon as well. But I like this effect. Now, as you can see, all I'm doing is gently pulling it down towards me. I'm not looking for perfection, but if I ripped it in one go, it would go all over the place. So just going to go across it gently, like so. You don't need to have pre-cut it. You could have ripped this out yourself. You don't need anything really, apart from maybe some scissors. So there we have a card base and a strip of shredded paper coloured card. What I'm going to do is give you another one of my tips. This is tear and tape. Any kind of double-sided tape would work. But what's important when you're working with ribbon, if at all possible, hi Lizzie, we got Lizzie ribbon, is it, if at all possible, keep yourself a pair of scissors just for your ribbons, because cardstock is really harsh on ribbon. So all I'm going to do is cut myself a length to wrap around there. I'm then going to take my beady bits are getting in the way. I'm then going to take, this is tear and tape, so I'm fortunate I can just tear it off, and I'm going to secure that in place there. I'm going to take it back up, check that it's lined up where I want it to go, and do the same there. Then I'm going to take that piece off of there because I don't want the frayy bits on there. And that is going to go down there. So I use wet glue, and I'm going to do it now. I'm going to just stick this on my card front. This card is super quick, super simple. I'm using my grid paper to line up. I'm going for, there we go. Going to give that a good press down. In fact, I'm going to get my bone folder out and I'm going to just run it under there, because with that ribbon it's quite a lot to attach. Very simple, very crisp and clean. So what am I going to put on my card? Well, I'm going to use one of these lovely sentiments, and because we have quite a lot of space here, I can go for quite a large sentiment. What's this one say? Anybody any good at reading up and side down? Tis no. From our home to yours. Perfect. I think I got that right. You never know and tell. So, as when you purchase these, no, what does it say? May this season be filled with peace and joy. Nowhere near what I thought it said, but it works. It's fine. I peeled off the backing. I've got my block. I've lined my block up on the grid paper. Hopefully you can see that. And I'm going to line up there. That might be straight. It might not. I'm hoping it will be. It's a bit tricky with the camera under your nose, but that'll do. Got it on. Grab my lovely black ink pad. I'm going to give it a good kissing all over, and because it's a new stamp, I'm going to stamp it straight down. Oh, that's not bad. Ink it up again. Good tap, tap, tap. And let's see if we can get that to work a little better. Perfect. I think that's going to look great. So good inking up on this. This is a tuxedo, Memento Tuxedo Black, and it's actually a felt pad, so you can give it quite a good tap, tap, tap. Unlike a foam ink pad that you would be a little more gentle with. So I'm going to pop my sentiment. I say pop too much, I've decided. No, I can't remember which way I've got to go. Talking gets in the way of thinking, doesn't it? Let's try it again. Yeah, that's better. Always, hi Ali, always stamp on your grid paper before you stamp on your project. So you, oh look, I've got a black mark there, oh well. So that you know where you're going. So my card is lined up on the grid paper and my stamp is just there, fingers crossed. 1, 2, 3. There we go. Super quick, super simples, no mess. Oh, it's a bit plain though, isn't it? We need something on it. My top iridescent rhinestones, Andrea's saying. I think it needs a knot. Now I say knot because tying bows isn't for everyone, and that's fine. You don't need to tie a bow to make something look pretty with ribbon. We could do a knot like that, but I don't like that, I've decided. What I do like is just tying a knot in the ribbon. So I can faff with it. I can make it look its very best. And I'm going to trim the ends so they're roughly equal. I like that. I'll get rid of that. And we're going to just pop that. See, I'm popping again. We're going to place that on there. And I'm going to use some tear and tape to adhere that. So I'm going to... Oh, do I like my knot better that way? That way? Or that way? What do you think, guys? A or B? Sounds like I've been to the opticians, you know, when they change the glasses. Is A right for you or B? I'm going to trim that down a fraction whilst you let me know in the comments. That's A, this flat way, or B. Oh, Lynn has said B, so we're going for B. So I'm going to take my tear and tape and I'm going to place it on the ribbon. Always just give it a little press down and voila, it comes off. So we can put that in place. That is simple card. Ah, well done, Lorraine, you agreed. Please just ignore this little bit here. This is my simple card using ribbon part 1. Don't even have to tie a bow, it's just a knot. And I think the effect is quite good. Now, we're going to move on to this one. Now for this one, we're going to use the same technique using Lizzie's ribbon, which I'm reeling off the ribbon. I am going to do, again, my tearing down the side. Oh, thank you, Becky. Don't forget, if you want to get this effect, you pull down towards you in small increments. If you try and do too big a chunks, it just doesn't seem to work as well. Well, certainly not for me. I need to just get that ribbon in there and work out roughly where I'm tying Lizzie ribbon. Yes, we know, Lizzie, it's your ribbon. But have you done it like this? Maybe you have, maybe you haven't. Those pieces I would save and use on another project. So for this one, I've gone for a white card base with the same red, partly because I'm using this bad boy. But for this ribbon, I'm actually going to put a piece of tape down the back and take it off, because I'm going to wrap my ribbon all the way around. So I'm going to pull off a good old length of it, secure it down onto the tape. That's going to be the back, so don't panic. You can see the tape there, but it's going to be the back. And then I'm going to pull it round and I'm going to tie a massive bow. A massive bow with it. So we're going to be big and flamboyant and tie our knot in the centre. I do bunny ears. If you don't know what bunny ears are, 1 bunny ear, 2 bunny ears, 2 bunny ears. One goes round, the other goes through the hole. I pull the tail over, and there we have it. A massive. It's massive. This ribbon is very flamboyant. So we're going to tone it down a fraction. just a fraction, not a lot, because we like it being flamboyant. And I'm not cutting the tails off until I've got it on my card. How simple, quick and easy is that? Now I'm going to place that on there, and I'm not going to do any more cutting or anything else until I have decided what sentiment I'm going to go for. Now I'm going to choose, I think I quite like fa la 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 la, but I think I'd quite like it going all the way across. So let's find the fa la 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 la. Your sentiment doesn't have to just be a sentiment. It can be an integral part of your design. So we're going to put that, we're going to line that on there. I want that piece to go there, and I'm going to put fa la 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 all along here. So I'm going to grab my tuxedo black again. It's a new stamp, so we're going to tap, 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 and we're going to press down 1, 2, 3. Oh, I like it. Now, because I know that I want it to roughly be in that section, I'm going to use the black centre line on my grid paper as my imaginary line. I'm going to take the fa la 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 la, and I'm going to stamp it there. I'm then going to re-ink, and I'm going to work out from there so that it goes off the edge of the card. Inking in between each time. Oh, let me get that back on that line. I'm hoping I'm going to be okay. There. It's not perfectly straight. It's okay. I don't mind if you don't. There. So we now have fa la 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 all the way along there. We've got our piece of coloured card that we've wrapped our ribbon round. We've created this big flamboyant bow, and now we're going to stick it down. Now you could use tear and tape through double-sided tape. Oh, I'm getting messy everywhere, nothing's so new. Or you could use your wet glue. I'm going to go wet glue. What you use is your personal choice. It is entirely up to you what you like to use, what you're comfortable with. If you like tape runners or wet glue, it's up to you. So we're going to use our grid paper again, and we're going to place that strip just above our fa la 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 las. Again, I'm going to take my bone folder, slip it underneath and press it down, because that ribbon has got a lot to stick through. Now let's have a look at this. The nice thing about doing bunny ears for a ribbon is you get quite a lot of wiggle room to play with. So I'm going to come back in here, and I'm going to just trim my tails off and making them roughly even. They don't have to be exact, but there you go. How simple is that? I see that's coming up there, so we're going to have to press and hold for a little longer. Give that glue a good time to hang on to it there. There you have it. Now that's a bit wobbly up there. I think we need to use a glue dot to hold that in place. You could use tape, you could use wet glue, whatever you prefer. I'm just at this moment looking for my take your pick tool so that I can pick off. Actually, do you know what? I'm going to tear the glue dot off of there. I'm going to see where that sits there. I'm going to take it and put it on the cardstock. Peel it off. Please stay, please stay, please stay. Thank you. And then I'm going to pop the dot, no, not the dot of the ribbon. So simple, Lynn. That is an easy card that just, well, I think it's fun, frivolous, all the things you would like to be. There we are. So that's 2 cards. One with the Lizzie ribbon, one with Jill's least favourite ribbon, the frayed white ribbon. Okay, what are we going to do next? Well, first of all, we're going to find, there it is, we're going to find the cap for the pokey tool. Otherwise, I might hurt myself with it. Next, I'm going to bring in, hi Becky. Absolutely. Creating that ombre and fade look is fab. Now this is one of my favourite ribbons. It's called Natural Finish and it is soft but structured. It ties nicely. I think it works great with all sorts of projects. And I'm going to use a vanilla card base for this one. And I'm going to do something that you might never have thought of doing before. I'm going to stamp on my ribbon. So I'm going to take this leaf from my new, see, it's so new, I've never used it. So this is how they arrive. I always peel that sheet off and put it back there while I'm using them. And I'm going to take this little beauty from there. I'm going to move that out the way and find a block that fits nice on there. I'm going to grab my Memento black ink again. I'm going to work out roughly how much of this do I want. Shall we go portrait? Hi Betty. Oh, don't worry about being late. Should we go landscape or portrait? Decisions. Comment below and let me know. Landscape or portrait? First one up gets to decide. Does it need to be permanent? Landscape. Thank you, Shaz. Does it need to be permanent ink? No. You can use any inks to stamp on to the ribbon, so long as, like this one, it has a high cotton or natural fibre. If you were trying to stamp on something that has like the mesh ribbon, you would find that that wouldn't sit on there. You'd have to use permanent. But for what we're doing today, we could use any of the coloured inks, Stampin' Up coloured inks, any water-based inks. But I'm choosing to use black because this is Make It Simple Monday, so we try to keep the supplies or stash to the basics. So tap tap tap, new stamp. Let's give it a go. Oh, look at how beautiful that stamps out. And a little wiggle just to make sure. And I must, excuse me please while I have a quick slurp of water. Otherwise I'm going to end up in a coughing fit. Okay, so I've got my stamp, I've got my ink. Big hold your breath. I'm going to stamp over my ribbon. 1, 2, 3. Can you see how that has transferred onto that? I love this effect. I think it's fun. It's natural. 1, 2, 3. You can create custom projects that nobody's going to ever have the same. And you're never going to manage to make it the same either, because it will be different every time you do it. But that's what is the best thing about creating handcrafted items. You can move your stamp around in any direction you like. You can change stamps. You could change colours. It is endless. Now, because we are stamping onto a fabric rather than paper, I am going to move it to one side and give it a moment to just make sure it's dry. I can show you how dry it really is. If I lay it down and press it down, nothing comes off. But I'm just... Oh, you may have to change your mind about ribbon. I'm pleased to hear that. Look how pretty that is. I'm just going to pop that out of view for a moment. I'm going to bring in my card base. And I am going to bring back my floral stamps. And I'm going to bring this one. I'm going to use this bunch here. Because what I'd like to do is show you that if you are looking for quick and easy ways to showcase things or to use your stash wisely, create your own backgrounds. 1, 2, 3. Oh, that's beautiful. Put it down, give it a wiggle. Yeah, that's good. So I'm going to go and I'm going to stamp all over the bottom bit of this card. I'm creating my own unique paper for my card. Do make sure that you, when you do this kind of thing, try and make sure that you go off the edge. It just looks, to my mind, it looks more finished. It might not work for everybody, but it works for me. So there we have it. Very simple. But what we're going to do now is we're going to create a divide. We're going to use the ribbon to be the divide between the pattern and the plain. Now we could lay it over the pattern, but that would be a shame because that's really pretty. I'm going to leave mine black on the vanilla. Of course, it's going to look amazing if you colour it in, but I think this will do me for now. So I've got that there. I am going to not do that. I'm going to put a sentiment on there first. And you know what? I think we could get away with this being a Christmas rose. So I'm going to go for, should we go Merry Christmas or Noel? I think the Noel is a little larger, so might have a little more impact. That would be Noel when it's stamped. You have to use your imagination. And that would be Merry Christmas. What do we reckon? Noel. I think Noel is the answer for me. Move that out the way. Oh, Becky, well done. So we're going to take that off of there. We're going to move that over there. Pop that on there. And we're going to... It's Noel then. Hi, Fiona. Tap, tap, tap. Let's see if we can get this working. It's Noel.
Well, actually, Kay says Noel.
Noel. It's a new one, Kay. Okay, so I'm going to take my grid paper. Once again, use that to line up and create... That's going to go there. So we'll move that out the way. And I'm just going to pop my Noel. 1, 2, 3. There. There. So, because I haven't got a mat to tuck this behind, I need some way of getting it across the card. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a length of tear and tape. And I'm going to use my grid paper to line it up there to over there. Now, tear it off. If you have red tape or other kinds of tape, you're going to need to do scissors, but the advantage to the tear and tape is I don't need to. For this second piece, I'm going to use that line as my guide. So I'm going to take the cover off. That's the other reason I like this tear and tape. The cover comes off so easily compared to our favourite friend red tape. So I'm going to line my card up again, get over there, line my card up again, and trying to find the line for the grid paper, and there we go. Now the tape won't show through this because you've got your grandson there. Is he typing with you? Is he crafting with you? So I'm going to trim my ribbon to fit my card from the reverse so that I get a nice straight edge. Being a natural fibre, it may well fray, but that's okay. I don't mind that. So there we have it. Card number 3. If you don't want this to fray, you could try to take a lighter and burn it. I personally wouldn't do that, but it's your card. You do it your way. So there you go. There's another contemporary with a natural feel card. Now, I've got to say, I have got a thing about that flourish, that ribbon, that what do we call that? Leaves. I think that's really rather beautiful, that sprig. I'm wondering, do I want to put it up here? No, Cary, leave it alone. Let it go. Be as simple as that. That is all you need to do. So that's my third way, simple way with ribbon, is to use it to create a border from pattern paper to plain or between two different colours. Your cat is watching with you. Oh, hello, Buddy Cat. Oh, he's asleep on you. Oh, how sweet. Yes, Kay, this is vintagey. You could do a nice bit of blending round there. You could step it up so easily if you want to. You could add some red gems on these little dots. You know, we can always take things further and further and further, but the basic skill is stamping on the ribbon and using your ribbon as your divider. So we'll pop that one to one side. And I can't remember what I was going to do next. I know I was going to do something. I was going to do another thing with this ribbon, but I can't remember what it was. I'll come back to that ribbon. Now, sorry? Oh, well remembered. I'm glad somebody was listening to me. Okay, what we're going to do for this one is another thing you can do with this ribbon and most ribbons is actually colour it. Isn't that handy? So for this ribbon, I'm going to use... Oh, hang on. Come on out. Come on out. Don't be shy. I'm going to keep my... these are the 2123 in colour Stamping Right markers. They're water-based markers. They're not alcohol markers. Oh, thank you so much, Lorraine. That's lovely. You could do this with alcohol markers. You can do this technique with ink pads. I'm choosing to do it with Stamping Right markers. These are water-based markers. They have a bullet tip and a brush tip. And I'm going to take the brush tip and I'm going to line it up on my grid paper, not the pen, the ribbon. And I'm going to just take my pen and do a simple edge to this ribbon to give it a touch of colour. Now, it might look a bit messy at the minute, but it will get better, I promise. So this colour is Soft Succulent, and it's a lovely gentle green that, as I said before, it works so well with this natural colours combo. But how simple and how different is that? It just gives it a completely different feel. I could make it wider. I could add other colours. I could go for this is a evening evergreen. I could go in and I could add a darker green. So I'm going to just follow my line and I'm just going to work my way down. Just following it along to give it a different shade. I can go back in and create a darker shade of the soft succulent here. I've got a thinner line there. It's endless. You could do so much. You could change. Don't be caught up in thinking that you can only colour white ribbon. You can colour natural fibred ribbons. You can colour Hessian. It depends on the colour as to how it will turn out. But I really liked that gentle look. But what I want now is a red, because we're going to be a bit more traditional with this card. And I'm going to go for Cherry Cobbler and Real Red. And I'm going to add now a line of Cherry Cobbler, following my line from before. I'm only doing a thin line of this one because this is the darker one, and then I'm going to go back with. Can you see how those colours pop? They don't pop. Pop's the wrong word. And we're going to take this Real Red and add a lighter shade of red. So, can you see that? That red. Sometimes if it's a quite an open weave, you can get the colour and the texture coming through. I think that looks really nice. Where's my card base gone? Well, I'm going to have one of these ones. I have a white card base. And I'm really liking that orientation, aren't I? We're going to go like that, just because I can. What you can do, because the colour shows through on both sides, we could tie a knot in there. Because knots are easy. And we could then tie that across, tie that across there. I quite like that. We could bring in some of our torn pieces from earlier to create a faux layer there. This is why I never throw anything away. I'm a real hoarder. And we could build a little it's red band across our card here. And then we could have our customized ribbon there. I quite like that. So I'm going to go with that. Take out my trusty wet glue. Run it across the centre of there. Line up my card on my card base on my grid paper, just so I can aim to get, oh, the rain has started, a straighter line there. One number 2, I can go on the card. I am going to let the white show through because, you know, I went to all that trouble of ripping it. Why wouldn't I want to showcase it off? In fact, I'm going to do that side so that I can see the fraying pieces there. Oh, Jill, you wouldn't like this at all, love. No, I don't suppose actually Lynn does, because I don't think Lynn does that kind of thing either. So let me grab my scissors for cutting with the paper. I'm going to come from the back as always, trimming off so that it fits my card base. Put the lid back on my scissors so I don't stab myself. I'm going to take our piece of custom ribbon. I'm going to grab a glue dot. In fact, I think I'll probably end up with 2 glue dots. And I tear it off. I'm going to stick it in the middle. Off you come. And we're going to go for another one next to it, just to make sure that we get, oh, didn't press that down properly, did I? Gently tears off, thank you. And there we have it. I am going to trim. Oh, I've put the ribbon the wrong way round. Oh, lordy law. Won't pop that up there. That's better, isn't it? You know, you can fiddle with ribbon forever and a day and it won't do what you want it to do until it's ready to do it. That's it. Go down. Right. You're up for a challenge. Good girl. Right, what I'm going to do then is I'm actually going to fray the ends of this ribbon. I'm really going to challenge you. I'm going to fray the ends. Can you see how I've just frayed those pieces? But I will snip off at this end because I don't like that clumpy look. Looks like spiders. And let's fray this end. All you need to do is find... There we go. And again, let's trim that off there. That is not going to stay on there because I have glued it and unglued it twice. So we're going to use a piece of tear and tape. And we're going to pop that on there instead. Popping it again. Okay. There we go. How simple. Super simples. All it needs is a sentiment. And I am going to go with Merry Christmas just because it happens to be next to me. No bigger, no smaller message. Reason, not message. Just stamp and make sure it's round the right way. Probably isn't. No, good job I checked. Thank you, Becky. Let's make sure it is the right way this time. I'm going to go for... This is quite a minimalist card in many ways. But down here or up here or there. Decisions. It's too hard. I can't decide. Actually, I can. I'm going to go. I can't decide now. My gut tells me up there. So go with your gut. Above the line. And 1, 2, 3. There we have it. They are all fab. We have to try using, you do have to try using more ribbon. And you don't, it doesn't have to be complicated. Ribbon does not have to be complicated. It can be simples. So simples, in fact, that for my final card, gosh, I have made so many cards this afternoon. It's, you know, I've been on here far too long. I now have my final selection of ribbons for you. I don't know if I'm going to use them all, but look at these guys. just to show you different types of ribbon that you can buy. You can get this gorgeous gingham, which is lovely. You can get sparkly ribbon. You can, this is a sheer ribbon. This is really pretty too. You can get a cotton twill ribbon. And we are going to use all of them. And I'm going to show you that texture doesn't have to be singular. You can use lots of different textures to create a card. A pretty look. They don't look pretty like that, but I promise they're going to be better. But what I am going to use is, I don't know about you guys, but I keep odd scraps of white card or any kind of cards. I've got all sorts of sizes here. I may even use a smaller one. Should we go landscape or portrait? That's the question. Landscape or portrait? You decide. I'll have a drink while you guys decide which way round we're going to go. Ugh. How do I keep ribbon ends tidy on the roll? I have this. It's called removable tape from Scotch. Portrait. Thank you. And it's low tack tape, anything like that. I just reel it round and fold it over. I like this removable tape because it's removable. Oh, diagonal. Oh, Betty, now you were. Oh, I was talking about the way of the card, but you've just given me a great idea for a card. Oh, we've got one more card base. Betty, hold on to that thought. We're going to do this one first. We're going to take a strip of card. We are going to cut ourselves, when we can find the scissors, some lengths of ribbon. They can be as long or as short as you like. We do like to work in odd numbers. We are looking for different, I'm not sure if the black's going to work ultimately, but we'll give it a go. I've only cut 2 pieces of each here, but I will be cutting some in a third. I'm going to take my tear and tape. I'm going to lay it down this piece of scrap paper. This is going to be super quick. And I'm going to peel it off, and I am going to put my ribbon randomly across the tape. I'm not worrying about the sizes at the minute. I'm just going to go with what happens, what I can feel. I'm kind of making a pattern, and that one's round the wrong way, because I want the other side. There and there, and you can come off of there and go there, because we are going to end up with that. And we are going to put it, it's going to go across there, so I need one more piece. Oh, yeah. Actually, do you know what? I'm going to take that one and put that down there. I'm going to cut myself another little piece of this black ribbon, and that's going to go there. You're welcome. Always here to help. I am going to take another strip of cardstock to just lay over the top of there, only because I want to put this up on 3D foam. No, that piece isn't quite long enough. We're going to use this piece. So don't ever get rid of your scraps of anything. You can keep your scraps of ribbon for this kind of technique. You don't have to cut off brand new pieces. You can. We're going to encapsulate that into there like that. So we have ourselves a little border, and we're going to get our, ooh, what, should we put some of that on there, or that one? No, I don't like that one. Let's have another look at this one. I'm making this up as I go along. I know the technique. I'm just designing the card as I go along. I'm actually going to use that piece. I am going to trim this to size, and I'm going to hold that in place, flip it over, take a pencil, preferably one with a lead in it, that's better, and I'm going to cut those pieces off. Now, if you're trying to cut a straight line, yes, perfect for the bits that you cut off, Becky. If you're trying to cut a straight line with a pair of scissors, keep the blade as long as you can, and that will help you cut straight. Put those away. I don't know about you guys, but I have different ribbons for different jobs. Now, I'm going to go, sorry, not different ribbons, different scissors for different jobs. I'm going to go in and cut these at different angles. So they're a little bit different all the way along. Some of them I might keep straight and at different lengths, just because it adds interest to your eye when you're looking at it. I think we need that one a little bit shorter, but I might do a fishtail on that one. So stick them two ends together and snip up. Two ends, two sides together and snip up. So, oh, what are we going to do with this one? We're going to go that way, and we're going to go that way. So, what are we doing? What are we doing, Cary? We're going to put that there. Where did our green piece go? We're going to wrap that piece around there. We're going to take out our tear and tape again, two little pieces, and wrap that on there. You could put a coloured piece of card, you could put a sentiment across there, that would look really cool, but I'm going to stamp my sentiment onto my card. Oh, now I can't get my fingers to work straight. Right, but this one is going to go up on 3D foam, so I'm going to I'm going to pop my 3D foam, my stamping dimensionals across there, so that works. Is that glinting? Because from where I'm sitting, it is glinting and glistening with all these textures. I need a sentiment. I'm going to go for Merry Christmas again. Fa la 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 la. Should we go fa la 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 la? I can't sing. Don't even try and make me. You wouldn't like it. As my mum says, we sing like a cat's choir. Cat's chorus. Tap, tap, tap. Make sure it's going somewhere near the right way. Good tap, tap, tapping. And we're going to pop that there. And our fa la 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 is going to go there. 1, 2, 3. Let's get our ribbon element on. So just remember, this is a plain white card base with a simple black sentiment. But look at that pretty ribbon. It really is textural. It's giving you movement. I think it's rather pretty. So, final card. I'm going to do this really quick because we are being inspired by Betty, because she said about going diagonally. what ribbon shall I use? I'm going to use these two. No, because I can't. No, that wouldn't work because I could see through those. I'm going to use the blue and white. I'm going to use the blue and white. So I'm going to place my ribbon diagonally across there. So what I need to do is make sure I can get a nice line through there. So I am actually going to break out the ruler and the pencil. I'm going to use my grid paper's centre point line to help me get that line in place. Pencil out the way, put the ruler away before I lose it. I'm going to put my tape following that line. So it goes right across the card there. And I'm not going to measure now. I know, I'm brave, aren't I? What I'm going to do is I'm going to use my eye. Not always a good thing to do, but I'm going to go for it. Oh, I've got a piece of hair on that one. That's not what you want on your Christmas card, is it? I'm going to put my ribbon across the whole of my card front. And I am going to line up with that first original line so that I do have some resemblance to straight lines on my project. And then I must remember to cut the ribbon off before you try putting it onto another area, Cary. So as always, turn your work over and snip from behind. Let's go for the next bit. That's got a bit of tape, we don't want that, thank you. I'm going to use my tape as the line I'm going to follow. There. Cut again. This really is crafting on the fly. I hadn't even thought about doing diagonals, but I'm liking it. It's very nice. Well thought out. And we're going to go for that line as well. There we have it. Okay, so now we just need to make sure that our ribbon is not overhanging our card. And we're doing that by trimming it off from behind. And we'll do the final piece over here. Got a little bit of glue on there, we get rid of that. We don't need the extra tape. Let's get rid of that. Push this all to one side. If you're interested, these are Stampin' Up snips, and they have a beautiful point and are very sharp. That's why I have this thing to put the points in if I'm not using the cover that they come with, which I've now lost in the mess that's at the desk. So there you go, Betty. Diagonally placed ribbon. It's created its own background. I like it a lot. You could have it landscape, you could have it portrait. I actually quite like it portrait, but I am kind of looking for a sentiment to put on there. But I don't think I've got the right one with me. No, I haven't got the size I think I would like, because I kind of think I want to put something here, but what I've got, oh, I don't know, Noel? No, don't want Noel. Have yourself a merry little Christmas would be really nice, but I have a sneaky suspicion that that might actually be a little large. Oh, I don't know. What do you think, guys? Down here or up here? Yes, I don't normally put labels on my stamps, but we had a new lady join us this morning at Card and a Cuppa, and she put the label on the stamp, so we're going with the flow. So up there or down there? Or on a separate piece of card, or a separate piece of card in the middle. Lorraine says top, so we're going to go with Lorraine. Thank you, Lorraine. I love it when people stop me from procrastinating. Okay, let's get the ink. Do you know what? I think we're going to crack out and use a different colour ink. I'm going to go Pacific Point, just because I can, and because, oh, I'm running well over time. I should be on another call, but I'm not. I'm going to just do this, and then I'm going to go leave you to have fun with your ribbon. 1, 2, 3. There you go. Simple, effective, fun to make. And that's what card making should all be about. So we could lay our too many choices. You're right. We could lay our ribbons across our cards to make our beautiful background. We can use our little scraps up to make our little flags. We can colour our ribbon to customise it by using markers. We can stamp on our ribbon to create completely unique pieces. Tie a big blousey bow with a flashy ribbon. Can be the focal point. And we can create simple, understated. You don't ignore my little black fingerprints there. You don't have to do bows. You can just do a knot. And they don't have to be tied into the piece of ribbon to start with. You can add them extra after. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 samples there. Play with your ribbon, get it out, use it. Instead of just buying it and going, I don't know what to do. Try. Have fun. Take care. Look after yourselves, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.